So now I'm going to go through the papers themselves. So the first one there is Cerezo Tellez from 2016. These are in alphabetical order, so they're not in date order. So what can I say about this particular paper? It's unpaired experiment. So you're comparing passive stretching to deep dry needling groups. Two groups of 64 matched participants, so they have the same sort of properties, the same baseline VAS score. You tabulate in A0 the measures before treatment and then differences after 2 sessions, 4 sessions, and the 6-month follow-up, which is the A3 one. There's multiple endpoints, so which is the endpoint that you actually want to take? Well, it's going to be the 6-month one because that's the actual beyond the end of the experiment. What you have to think about is this control comparable to the control in the other papers? It's not completely comparable because the stretching is not the same as some of the other sham treatments. It could be better to compare treated and untreated groups, but that would ignore the placebo effect. And the way the data is reported is it reports differences and the differences of those differences between the different groups. Now, the tabulation of the differences I'm not completely sure about because they seem larger, the variation seems larger than I would expect. So another thing that's a concern here is people could stop the treatment once they've reported complete relief of their symptoms. So that meant out of the acupuncture group, 3 participants stopped after 1 session, 37 stopped after 2 sessions, 12 stopped after 3 sessions, so only 12 had all 4 sessions. Whereas in the control group, 15 stopped after 2 sessions and 49 had all 4 sessions. If you're going to treat it as acupuncture against the control and it's a sort of black and white yes or no, then this isn't particularly a problem. But the stopping early of the treatment could be an issue. Now, looking at the data, they've got the same mean and similar standard deviations for the control and the deep needling group. 64 participants in both. The difference between the A1 and A0, A2 and A0, A6 and A0 for the control group and the deep dry needling group, you can see here. Then you've got the standard errors, the SEs. To convert the standard errors into standard deviations, you need to multiply that by the square root of the number of participants. So in this case, you have multiplied them all by 8. Now, when I multiply all those by 8, I get some numbers which seem to me a little larger than what you should do, what you should be getting. You have the comparison of after the treatment compared to the null to pre-treatment. This is the same patients, so you can do a paired-wide study. Now, I wouldn't expect the standard deviations to be this large if you had that pairwise comparison. This looks like you've taken the amount of variability you've got afterwards and the amount of variability you've got before, and you've treated the data as though it's unpaired data and calculated the variability. I don't know they've definitely done that, but I'm slightly suspicious that I would have expected the standard deviations to be an order of magnitude smaller. So I would have expected them to be about the size that you're seeing from the standard errors. But the standard deviations are not. So that's a slight concern. And it will come up later because we have to calculate similar effects in the other studies. And so in this case, there's a clear difference between the deep dry needling and the control group. It doesn't rule out an additional placebo effect because the control is very different to acupuncture. I don't think it's a great control doing the stretches. The 3 time points using the A6 measurement is clearly the best because it's the one post treatment. So it's the one that I would suggest using.